What's up, y'all? You're listening to the Brazos Sports Preps Cast. I'm Alex Miller, joined always by Andrew Tenio and Jake Weiss. Fellas, week one's here. Here we go.
Almost 24 hours away from kickoff. Couldn't be any more excited.
I can't believe it's here. I mean, it kind of hit me like a truck.
You say that every year.
Yeah, and every year it hits me like a truck.
Well, stay safe.
Yeah.
Buckle up there, pal. Buckle up. Hey, what's cool, too, is I'm pretty sure that the high school football season starts in Bryan. I think the first game is one of the Allen Academy Showcase six-man games. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who's playing, but I know that it's got a 6 o'clock start.
I was going to say, I think 5:30.
It's a 5:30 start.
I think it's 5:30 because they have multiple games. I think they have like 2 or 3 games each day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
So the road starts here, fellas.
Exactly.
It starts here. And, hey, we've even got 2 teams playing on Thursday night, which means Jake gets double duty and Andrew gets to cover a game this week. So we'll start with Jake. Okay.
Sounds good.
Jake, you are going to be at College Station Klein Collins Thursday night. What's the biggest question mark you have that you want to see answered from the Cougars going into this one?
Ooh, kind of piggybacking off. I talked to College Station head coach Tony Pryor earlier this week, and I think the biggest thing that I want to see, and he kind of alluded to it a little bit, is really kind of on the offensive side of the ball. We talked about this a little bit last week on the pod. They have a lot of question marks on that side of the ball. You lose all 3 running backs from last year, and all 3 running backs were pretty dang good. You lose your quarterback as well. Receiver as well, you lose some guys there, tight end, wide receiver. So they got a lot of question marks on that side of the ball. And we always say, too, like week one, you hear this in the NFL and college a lot, like, the defenses are ahead of the offense. Obviously, the same thing's true in high school. So I'm really curious to see how kind of College Station kind of has picked itself back up this offseason and what they look like in week one.
Andrew, you are going to be at Bryan versus Magnolia West Thursday night at Merrill Green Stadium. What is a question you have about the Vikings that you want to see answered?
Well, I'm sure there's actually quite a few questions that will probably be answered not only from one to answer from not only myself but from the staff as well. We talked a little bit about Bryan and kind of their questions last week, but 5 new starting offensive linemen. You've got a new quarterback coming in. That quarterback competition, hopefully, the coaches are hoping that it's concluded with this game on Thursday. You've got Javalen Wade at running back, which is a well-known commodity, but you've got brand new receivers. You've got new defensive backs. I mean, the defensive line is the area where you could pick out a couple guys that you're pretty familiar with and guys that are coming back, and that's good. That's good to have that in the trenches. But really, 5 new offensive linemen, new quarterback. How is that all going to gel in game one? That's going to be, by far to me, the biggest storyline heading into this one.
Jake, you'll be at Rudder versus New Caney West Fork. Wow, that's a mouthful. On Friday night.
It is, yeah.
What's a question you've got for the Rangers that you want to see answered in week one?
Sticking with Merrill Green Stadium, actually, I wanted to circle back to Bryan real quick because last week on the pod, I said Will Bryan was a linebacker for Bryan. I said because I said it's real easy to remember his name because Bryan, obviously. Yeah, apparently it's not so easy. Wyatt Bryan is the linebacker. I was getting him confused with Will Hilburn, who's a defensive back. So apologies, guys. If you guys listened to the podcast or had family members that listened to the podcast and they told you about it, hopefully, just put my face on a Mag West defender, or an offensive player. Excuse me. So when you hit him, maybe makes you hit him a little harder. I guess
get some extra motivation, inspiration.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, but I wanted to throw that out there because I think we got done with the pod, and then I started googling some things, and I realized I got those 2 wrong, and I even bragged about how easy it was. So, but no, for Rudder, this is a real interesting one for me. Last year it was real unknown, right? Rudder went to New Caney West Fork. New Caney West Fork was in its first season. It was their first varsity game. So you kind of wonder, man, what's Rudder walking into? And then it took Rudder 2 overtimes to beat them. So obviously, and Rudder's played, we've seen Rudder play schools before that, hey, this is their first season of varsity football. I think back to, 2 years ago when they played Colleen Chaparral. Same deal there. It was they played them their first 2 seasons.
Did they play Richmond Randall when Randall first opened? Or was that Bryan?
When did Richmond Randall open?
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
I think so. Then they were in the same district. So
it was one of them.
I think it would be Rudder. Well, anyway, Rudder has that's just a knack for playing teams that are new. But yeah, what I'm really interested to see with Rudder, kind of a common theme for me. Defensively, we talked to Coach Izar after the scrimmage. Defense seems a little ahead of the offense, just because there's a lot of new guys on that side of the ball. So for me, I really want to see how Rudder's offense handles New Caney West Fork. I mean, like I said, last year came down to double overtime, and that wasn't a low-scoring game, folks. That wasn't like they won 10-7, or it wasn't like it was an offensive shootout. It was like 30. We were in the high 30s, maybe 40s. So both teams can put up points. I believe, too, New Caney West Fork kind of runs a offense that I think it's slot T. Me and Andrew were talking to Brandon Brown and Sean Goody about it at high school football media day. Way back now it feels way back July, but not that long ago. And they were kind of alluding to, hey, these guys kind of run an offense you're not going to see all the time. So with that in mind too, that also puts a little bit of pressure on Rudder's offense, because if those guys are moving the ball with that offense and can score, you got to kind of start to match them.
One of our favorite stringers by the name of Ian Curtis is going to be at A&M Consolidated and Lake Belton Friday night.
Oh.
Yeah. A little
shout out Ian.
Shout out to Ian.
Hey, surprise to me there.
Alum.
Yeah,
the schedule got switched around. I'm throwing a surprise on you guys.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Ian will be out there. So obviously we don't have Ian on the panel. So Jake, I'm going to defer this one to you, sir, since you wrote about the Tigers this week. What's a question you have that you want to see answered from Consol in week 1?
Ooh, man, like I said, I feel like I sound like a broken record because all three of mine have been on offense. I promise, guys, I like defense too. I'm not all about offense, but I really want to see what the new quarterback looks like. I know in the scrimmage it was Mari Moore and Holt Goodwin who were getting reps. Names you might know, they were on JV last year, JV and freshman team, I believe. So for me, I really want to see. We don't know yet who's going to be quarterback 1, but I'm interested to see how both those guys handle the reins. They have some good help back there. They've got a real talented backfield, kind of a two-headed monster, maybe 3, depending on how, kind of adept at running back shakes out. So they aren't doing it alone, but I am curious how both those quarterbacks handle, whoever it ends up being, maybe they both get playing time, how they handle that first varsity start.
I'm kind of interested to see at some point. Consol's got a little bit of a revamped secondary in a way. I know they brought in a transfer in Caden Steptoe. I know they moved over Darius Roberts Jr. from receiver to corner. I think Simon Starks is still there at DB.
Yeah, he is.
So it's quite a new and different position. I know DB's not a position where you look at and you're like, that's the core foundation of what I want to know from a team, but that's got so much new there, and Consol's been really solid in the secondary since Schmidt's been there and probably before then. I'm really curious to see that area as well.
Who's going to have the more interesting quarterback situation on Friday night? A&M Consolidated or the Auburn Tigers, Jake?
Yep, that's the answer for you.
Okay.
The Tigers right there.
Yeah, I'm just glad, when we do our high school picks, that game didn't make its way on the pick since it is a Friday night game, because I might have been, maybe not. I was worried I would have been the only guy picking Auburn. So
we've got noted Auburn alum Jake Weiss and noted Baylor fan Andrew Tenio have gone at each other's throats all week in the just kidding. They haven't.
It's not going to end. It's not going to end. It's going to
been
go
some
beyond
playful
next week.
banter. It started at the grocery store last week when Andrew ran into Jake in an Auburn t-shirt.
Of course, he's in an Auburn
all
polo.
Right, well, it's going to be like that all week. Not to fret. Jake will be very locked in with the Rudder game Friday night.
The real green team, if you ask me.
The real. Oh, wow.
Well, what I want to know, now you left us on a cliffhanger. If he's going there, are you covering any games this week?
Oh, I am covering a game this week.
What do you got?
I am going to cover Franklin versus China Spring
Yep.
up there in Robertson County, and this is an intriguing matchup. It's kind of a cross classification matchup. You got Franklin in 3A and China Spring up in 4A now, and yeah, I'm just really curious. Franklin's going to have some new faces that need to step up. Who are some of those new guys that fans are going to come to know that are going to be stepping into key roles and making plays for the Lions? Because look, they've got some household names with R.J. Fulton and Bubba Jackson and Walker Anderson and some of those offensive linemen, but there's going to be a little bit of a new flair with this Franklin team, and this will be a good test with the Cougars on Friday night.
And on the China Spring end, they're a team that was uncharacteristically down last year. I wouldn't expect that to be the case with how good China Spring has been, so I'm really curious to see what kind of challenge the China Spring team ends up bringing to Franklin.
Well, hey, we'll close this out, too. What's one area game that you guys got your eye on going into this week? Jake, I don't know what your picks column has been. I haven't talked to you about which games you've got, but we'll let you have first dibs.
All right. I think we'll stay in 5A. I'll go Huntsville-Brenham.
That's the easy pick.
Yeah, that's kind of the easy pick. Well, I can give you a harder pick.
well, tell us why.
But no,
tell us why it's the easy pick.
Yeah, it's the easy pick because they're both ranked, state ranks. I think they're both in the top 10. I don't think this is like someone's like 25th and one's like number 1. I think they're both in 5AD2. I think they're both like 3 and 4. Or it might not be that high, but
they're both top 10.
They're both top 10 in 5AD2. And then I hate to say it, but with Jacoby Dixon not playing at Brenham, obviously look, not one guy doesn't make a team. But there's a little bit of intrigue there. Okay, how does Brenham kind of pick themselves up? Because that news came out, last week?
Yeah.
You've only had basically a week without Jacoby, so you kind of have to probably shuffle the cards a little bit there. So that's an interesting element. And then Andrew brought up a good point with Huntsville. I had forgotten about this. Huntsville has a new head coach this year. So, his first big test, hey, congrats on this new job, buddy. Your first game, you got to go to Brenham, play a top 10 team, and you got to, learn your whole new team and, before week 1. So that kind of adds some real intrigue, too. Like, how does Huntsville look under a new coach? Because former head coach Rodney Southern, we'll see him later this year. He's at Copper's Cove, so Brian will see him later. But, that's, to me, there's a lot of interesting elements that really make you go, like, let's see how this one shakes out.
Andrew?
I don't believe we only have one neutral site game, I think, in week 1. Is that correct? And I think that's where I'm leaning towards. I want to go Leon Lubbock Trinity Christian. I think Jake.
That was like the hardest game to pick on our picks.
Jake and I talked about Leon before the show. I'm really interested to see with what they do this year. And I believe Leon and Snook was the game that was meant to happen. I think they played last year to open the year, and then
Snook and them both.
Then both are playing different.
They're
teams
both playing
this
different
year.
teams week 1.
But an interesting neutral game in Abilene for this matchup against Lubbock Trinity Christian. Really interested to see. They had a good year last year. They're hoping to break that glass ceiling. And this game may be a good litmus test early on to see what Leon kind of does and what they're made of. And they bring back a lot of starters from last year's group. That's one I got my eye on. I think it's a close line, and I think it'll be a close game.
I think down in the 6-man ranks, too, there's some intriguing matchups with all 3 local teams. With Allen Academy, they've got Spring Founders Christian. St. Joe's plays Alpha Omega from Huntsville. They normally have a good ball club and
state champs, I believe, last year.
Yeah, and BB Chia, who they hope they can be the state champs down there in their division. But they got Emory Weiner, who's traditionally had a pretty good team as well. So some good tests early for the local teams here in Bryan College Station.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, guys, any final thoughts?
Really like this week. There's some games that are on here that we could have pointed out that are really good games too. It's a loaded week 1. Happy to be back at it, and we got some football this weekend, gentlemen.
Leon Lubbock Trinity was a hard pick for you. Give me the Cougs. Give me Leon, man.
Well, just because when teams play these private schools, it's interesting to see how they compare with one another.
I'm just saying that because, Leon was one of my sleeper teams, so I got to, ride with the Cougs.
I'm pretty sure I went with Leon, but that's what I know.
Keeping up for Chilton Hearn, too.
Ooh, Chilton Hearn.
Hearn brings back a lot. Had a good late run last year. Chilton's normally really good. I think they had a bit of a down year, but the year before that they were really good, so that's another good one, too.
Well, hey, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Brazos Sports Prepscast. Be sure to check theeagle.com for all of our coverage on high school football here in the Brazos Valley. We'll see you next week.